What's going on, everybody? My name's Trevor here at Geotrek. I'm the dealership director, so I do a lot of the van sourcing for our customers. One thing that we were realizing is throughout the build process and ordering vans through us, customers are very focused and asking a lot of questions about what goes on in the back of the van. And a lot of times the technology and cool features up here in the front get overlooked. So I want to make a quick video kind of explaining how to use a lot of this and what to expect from your new Mercedes-Benz. In 2025, they did change a couple things, mainly the steering wheel. So here on the steering wheel, this is going to be all of your controls for your driver's screen, and then also you'll have some control over the center screen over here. All of your controls for the driver's screen are going to be on the left side of the steering wheel. So with these three buttons at the top here, you can toggle, swipe through the different menus. What I love about Mercedes is they allow you to customize your screens and your layouts of everything. It's a very intuitive software system. So it's very easy to learn, similar to like Apple products. It's very similar to that. On the left side here, all your controls for the driver's screen. And then also below that, you've got your cruise control settings. This van is really well equipped. So it's got the adaptive cruise control setting right here on the steering wheel. That is great for those long drives going across country. You can set that adaptive cruise control. It's going to keep you following that car in front of you at the set distance that you put. Moving over to the right side of the steering wheel, we've got the three top controls for the center screen. And then below that, we've got some volume controls and then this nice little fancy button that lets you...
I'm Mercedes, your voice assistant.
Pull up Mercedes, the voice assistant, and she can do, small things similar to Siri. And it works really well. It's really good at picking up your voice. Moving on to the center screen here. A lot of questions about this guy. It's pretty intuitive, similar to any smartphone nowadays. You've got your home screen here and then kind of all your different apps throughout it. You can customize, the placement of these similar to on your smartphone. You just press and then hold and drag them over. Going through the rest of the system here, big thing I wanted to talk about was some settings that I like to have turned on and maybe explaining some settings if you don't know what they are. You're gonna have all of your different kind of tabs that you can go through up at the top. One big thing that I like to make sure is set on is the active brake assist. So you make sure it's turned on with that blue dial lit up. And then I usually leave mine at the medium setting. Early, we'll just have that alarm going off too frequently. Late, you think, maybe it's not going to work in time. So medium is kind of that, happy medium that everybody talks about, Goldilocks zone. Moving on below the brake assist, we've got the active lane keeping assist. And this has been a point of a lot of confusion for a lot of new Mercedes owners is, they see this alarm going off and they don't know what it is and they think something's wrong with the van. The way the active lane keeping assist works is if you're driving and you're crossing over a solid line without your blinker on, the van's gonna activate the brakes on the opposite side of the van and pull you back into your lane. So customers will call me, on their way home from picking up their new van, and they'll be like, I think something's wrong with the van. I'm going to a Mercedes dealership right now. And then they explain the situation to me. And then we realize, it's just the van doing what it's supposed to do and keeping you safe and in between your lane. Some people hate that feature and they hate the van beeping at them all the time. So if you don't like it, you can just turn it off in your settings. Below that, a couple other small things that I like to make sure is on is the blind spot assist. Most people are pretty common with that. You have a little triangle in your mirrors. If somebody's in your blind spot, that triangle is going to light up red or orange color to kind of alert you of that. If you turn your blinker on and there's somebody in your blind spot, the van's going to audibly beep at you to let you know, it's not safe to change lanes at this time. So moving on past the assistance tab, we go over into the vehicle settings. And then one setting that I like to make sure is turned on is under open and close, this automatic door lock. Turn that on, and then when you're driving the van, once you hit 10 miles an hour, all the doors are just going to automatically lock. Most people like that for safety and just, it's pretty common in most vehicles. Another thing that I personally like is this acoustic lock setting. That way, when you lock the van's going to honk so you can audibly know that it's locked and safe. So moving on past that, we go over into the systems tab. In here, this is where you will go to change your date and time. So you click on date and time here, and then you can click the automatic time zone. That, as long as that setting's on, if you drive over different time zones and things, the van should automatically pick that up and reset your clock to the right time in the correct time zone that you're at. So you want to make sure that's an automatic time zone selection, and then you can set your format. You can see right now we're in 24-hour time. So if we switch to AM, PM, that'll automatically change. In the 2025s, it's been a little challenging to find the 360 parking cameras, but luckily this van's got it. One cool thing that you've got on the 2025s is this new Mercedes feature that allows you to almost have like a drone footage around your van with the 360 cameras. I'm not sure how they do it, but it's super cool. So if you're parking, especially in a long van, the van we're in right now is a 170. So these 360 cameras are super crucial for making parking super easy. You're also gonna have parking sensors all the way around the van. So if you are getting close to something, the van's gonna beep and scream at you. If you don't like that, it's super easy to turn off those sensors with the little sensor button there. But personally, I'd keep it on. All the vans that have a touchscreen are going to come with Apple CarPlay as well. So Mercedes software system is really nice and easy to use, but most people are going to be using Android Auto or Apple CarPlay once they're actively using the van. In this brand new 25 that we're in, they all come with wireless Apple CarPlay, which is super nice. But the wired CarPlay, that's what I have in my van. It's totally fine, works just as good. And you're going to have a little outlet up here in the dash that you plug your phone in to activate that. So one small little thing that I'd like to mention is these top vents up here are not associated with your AC system and your climate control. So when you're making it hotter or colder, these are going to stay the same temperature. These are ambient air vents. So they're just allowing the outside ambient air to come into the van and give you some fresh air. If you don't like them, you can always just close them like a normal air vent in a car. One thing that sometimes happens is the van is no longer detecting the key inside. This is pretty common when you're camping in the van because you're keeping your keys inside all night long. You wake up, you come up here and you hit the start button and the van says, keys aren't in here. And a lot of people freak out. A couple things you could do is maybe just click lock and unlock to kind of remind the van that the keys are within the proximity to start the van. If that doesn't work, Mercedes has a designated spot to place the key. Since it's a push to start vehicle, there's a designated spot underneath your center console here that you put the key in to kind of remind the van that the key is here. This could also be helpful in the event of a dead key battery. If the key battery dies, then of course the van's not gonna be able to tell that the key is inside. So you're gonna have to put the key in that little spot right there to allow the vehicle to start up. Moving on to this little section of controls right here. On this van, it has the electric parking brake. So parking brake controls are right here. Pull it out, you can hear it unclick, and then if you push it in, that activates the parking brake. Your light control dial is right here. One thing that I wish Mercedes would start doing, and I hope they hear this, is allow Sprinter owners to completely turn off their lights. Right now, unfortunately, you can turn it to just kind of your amber running lights, but there's no real way to completely shut off the lights if the vehicle is on. What I recommend to most people is to make sure you're keeping this in auto. That way, when you turn off the van, the lights don't stay on and kills your battery and things like that. So as long as it's in auto, every time you turn off your van, your lights will eventually turn off, and that way you're not gonna kill your van's battery. Another small feature right here in this section is this little roller right here. What this does is it dims your displays, the brightness of them. So if you're driving at night and the displays are kind of blinding you, they're so bright, you can just roll this down, dim those displays, and then you have better visibility at night. Makes it a little bit safer driving. So moving on to some of these controls on the door here. Pretty self-explanatory with the window controls. You've got automatic up and down, which is nice. Above those, you're gonna have your mirror controls. You press the mirror you want to adjust, and then you use this little D-pad here to make small adjustments to it. This van has the automatic folding mirrors as well, so it's got this third button in the middle. Some vans aren't gonna come with that. This one does. Below that, we've got all of our seat controls right here. So personally, I prefer the manual seats. I think it works a little bit better with the swivels, but the electric seats are super nice for making those small adjustments while you're driving, or maybe if you have two different drivers that are constantly switching shifts per se. It has memory settings for your driving position. So if you're switching drivers a lot, these memory settings can be really nice. Any 2024 and newer Sprinter is going to come standard with a driver's heated seat. The passenger heated seat is still an upgrade, but all driver's heated seats 2024 and newer will be standard. With Mercedes heated seats, they do turn off gradually over time. So about 45 minutes, 30 minutes of driving, you're probably going to look back down at that button and it's going to be off. It's nothing wrong with the van. It's designed to slowly turn off as you use it. All right, so that wraps up our quick tour of the Mercedes features. If you have any more questions, feel free to hit us up on geotrekvans.com.